Okay, so apparently there's cars making weird noises. This is a 2015 Volvo V60. This is my wife's car. And apparently, but I was out of town yesterday, started making some funky noises and started idling really high. When it was in park, it started idling up to 3,000 RPMs. So I need to see if there's something going on here. What I want to do is I want to start it up and see if I can tell what's causing it. Let's see. I see the belt's still intact here. This is what it's doing. It's revving up without anything on the gas pedal. No gas pedal. It's revving up. If I press on the gas a little bit, watch. It'll idle back down, but it won't stay down. So I did look up online where to find a scanner tool. I ended up buying one for 40 bucks from Walmart. It was a Hyper Tough. Brought it home, put it in, and it showed me a code P0507, which was excessive idling. So I looked that up and I just typed that in with the engine type I have, and it showed up with the forums. Stand there around too, is like trying to figure out what it is. It'll just go down, but then it'll climb back up. And I'm assuming, I've read some threads on this, I'm assuming it has to do with the PCV system. So I'm gonna look into that. This right here is the top of where I just took the oil trap PCV valve off. And again, guys, this part right here, I don't know why I was having such a hard time trying to find out the actual name of it. It's an oil trap slash PCV. The V obviously stands for valve, but it's kind of a common thing to say PCV valve, so you know. But that is all one unit. In the back seat there, I did buy the fresh air line as well, because I saw on the forum that that was also a common occurrence with the symptoms I was having with the car. So I did buy that just in case, but I figured it was going to be this oil trap up top, but I bought that just in case so I wouldn't have to go back if it was both. So that's what you're seeing back there. This part right here you're looking at up top with the oil covering, I did explain a little bit earlier, that is where I took the old one off.
Okay guys, so after I replaced that piece, I took it on a test drive, I put all this back. This thing just pops up anymore because all those little safety clips underneath are broken, essentially. Well, at least two of them in the back are. So this is the new piece I installed right here. This is the oil catcher, oil trap is what it's called. And I think this is this PVC, or no, the PCV valve right here, I believe. This right here underneath here is what was leaking. And so here in Oklahoma City, I couldn't just find the seal for it, which probably would have fixed it, but I felt better about buying the whole thing just to make sure. And so what I did here, whenever I put it back on, these right here, these just pull out right here. They just literally just lift up like that, lift up, and what I did is I just pulled it back, and I did all these bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 bolts all in there. So what I did is I just took them out one by one, and I went all the way around counterclockwise, and I just laid them all out here evenly. So I knew that my first one here was going to go here where I started, and then just follow along. And so what I did, when I took this off, I put everything aside, and around the old one there was a lot of oil buildup. And so what I did was I got some brake cleaner, and I got some paper towels that don't shed a lot, some like Brawny, or something thereof. And I got that, and I sprayed the paper towel with brake cleaner, and then I got the paper towel that had a brake cleaner on it, and I just went around the whole edge there where the new seal was going to go, and I just cleaned it all up really well. I did that quite a few times. I cleaned out the inside, got the old oil out. There was some like clumpy stuff inside there. I cleaned all that out, got it really nice looking, and then what I did was just held these out of the way. I just set it back down on top of there, and as I had with my left hand, I held it with my left hand here, and I got my right hand up here, and I just got the bolts one by one, and I put it back here, and I just put them all in there. I didn't tighten them as I did it. I just put them in there, make sure they were in their holes all the way around. And then what I did was I started essentially like you do a tire, like a 5-leg tire, a rim. What you'll do is you'll start here, tighten this one, not just snug it. It doesn't have to be super tight, just a little bit. And then what I did is I went over here, did this one, and then went over here, did this one, and then I did the one on the back, and then I did this one, and I did this one, and then I did this one, and then I went over there and did this one. And after that, after I got them all somewhat snug, I went around and I just tightened them till just hand tight. So I know there's a torque spec for them, but I didn't know the torque spec, so I just tightened them up what felt right to me. Now I know some of you guys may be like, hey, like it needs to have, you know, a torque spec on it. I understand that, but I didn't find it. I didn't look for it. I was kind of in a hurry, but I think it should be fine. So, but if there are some guys out there that are real anal about it, I would look up the torque specs for these bolts here and torque it. I'm sure it's probably, you know, 7 to 14 pounds of torque or something like that per one. But you gotta remember, these are plastic. They have little metal spacers inside, I believe, in some of these here on the corners here, so it doesn't crack. But it's not going to be super high torque on these, so I wasn't too worried about it. After I got this back on, I just cleaned off the oil cap lid. I tightened that back in, and I got this one hose that's connected to it, and I put that back on, and I clamped this and clamped it back over and let it loose, and got these and just put them back in the hole. I mean, that was essentially it. I started the car up. I had my scanner tool that I bought from Walmart. I bought one of those hyper tough ones for like 40 bucks. And I went in there and I deleted, or I erased the code, and erased the code and let it sit for about 10 minutes just idling to see if it was going to rev up again, like I showed you earlier. See if it was going to rev up out of nowhere. It didn't do that, and so what I did was I put the cover here back on, put this back on over it, like so. Just line it up with the oil cap top here. Those back there, like I said, they're bad. These right here just kind of pop in. They're kind of old. They need to be replaced. I just haven't done it yet. And then after I did that, I just shut my hood and I took it on a drive. I went up, I got it on the highway, went up about 65, and then I drove around town for a minute, about a 15-minute drive altogether. Got it back home and I let it sit for a little while longer, air up the tires on it a little bit since it got cold. The air is deflated, the air in the tires deflated just a little bit, so I was letting it idle to see if it was going to work. It ended up working great.